Hi folks, what I have for you today is another installment on my RadRover 6 Plus e-bike video series. This time I'll give you a 2,500 mile report end to end from the front wheel to the back wheel and everything in between. So stay tuned, I'll be right back. Hi, Pop here. I'd like to invite you to join me in some of my adventures. Whether I'm out pedaling my e-bike or fishing from my kayak, or exploring the inner workings of a fishing reel or two, or even hearing about what I learn as I pile up the miles on my RadRover bike. Why, we might even get some old cars running again. All you have to do is hit the subscribe and like button so you can stop by for a visit anytime you like. I hope to see you soon. I'm here in southern New England on a warm spring day amid the budding blueberries and laurel bushes to talk to you about my RadRover 6 Plus bike. I've had it over a year now, and I just want to share with you some of my impressions with it. First, the structural components. I was originally concerned by the fact that there's no crossbar on the step-thru that you'd normally have on the high-rise bike. That hasn't been a problem, as I've been keeping an eye on this gusset down here, and I've noticed no flex or twisting of the frame. There's no broken wells or chipping of the paint, so this frame has actually stood up to my expectations. I'm happy about that. So the front forks, my style of riding is not to lock out the front fork. I keep the preload adjustment in the middle position, so this adjustment can go 4 total turns. I have it in middle, so it's 2 turns out or 2 turns down, however you want to look at it. So that's the sort of middle adjustment that I use. Haven't had a bit of problem with the front forks. They're pretty standard. I don't think they're anything special in terms of bike technology, but they've held up well and they suit the purpose. The seat I find comfortable. I'm only 150 pounds, so I don't exactly abuse that seat or the cushion, but I found it quite adequate, and I'll be on my bike for 2 hours at a time sometimes. What I really do like about the seat is this grab bar down here. I don't know if you can see it the way the sun and the shade is, but I use that grab bar every single day, and it's where I have to keep my bike, that I have to pick up the back end and move it in or out in order to get it in and out of its parking spot. So I use that every day. I find it to be a very nice feature. As far as some of the mechanicals go, well, not too much trouble there either. The brakes stop the bike and hold up well. I need to change the front pads. Pretty easy to do. You simply remove this cotter pin. You extract the pads and the spring that holds them apart. Do whatever you need to do. Slide in the new pads in the spring, put the cotter pin back over, and you're done. If you need to adjust your brakes, if they're rubbing on one side of the rotor or the other, you do that with these 2 set screws. Allows you to turn the caliper wherever you need it. So, but there's guidance on the RadPower website for that. The only issue I've had with the brakes is an intermittent cutout of the motor. I was on the road and couldn't figure out what was going on. As I pedaled, I would be losing power to the motor. I would come to a stop sign, it would be fine, it would start up okay, and then it would cut out again. I did a lot of stuff like jiggling the cables and all that stuff that I guess you're supposed to do. I even fiddled with the connectors, made sure that the pinouts are okay or not corroded, since I did ride it all winter. They were fine. I did get home, and what I found out was that this little brake lever adjustment screw, a little too, I don't know if you can see it the way the light is, but it's a little 2mm adjustment screw that allows you to excuse me, to adjust the outward length or the throw on the handle. Because I have pretty good sized hands, both my levers, front and back, are out all the way. And I think what happened was that there was a little bit too much pressure on here, and it was allowing the brake to cut off the motor. I mean, that's intended use, but I found that one little adjustment, a half a turn on this, fixed the problem, and I haven't had a problem with it since. So if you have an intermittent motor cutout problem, you might want to take a look at that. And the rear brake is similarly configured. The set screw is right here. As far as the shifting mechanism, down or up, haven't had a problem with this, haven't had to adjust it, haven't had to adjust anything down at the derailleur level since I first adjusted my derailleur. You might see that in my 250-mile review. I gave some little bit of guidance on how to adjust that and make the alignment so with the chain, excuse me, the chain and the cogs. Excuse me, there's a lot of pollen here. I have dropped my bike a number of times. You might be able to see some of the rash that's on this derailleur guard. I have had it pushed in almost as far as the derailleur, but really all you need to do is give it a good slow hard tug, and you can bend that back out so this is back in line with the bike, so vertical, and that you have enough distance in here. The motor, the chain, everything has been fine. I did service the chain one time. You can see that little red mark right there where I dropped the chain out. I'll talk about the tires later, but when I do take the tires, take the back wheel off, I'll drop the chain out. That'll give me a chance to give it a good visual inspection and cleaning and a relubrication, and that'll give me better access to the cog set excuse me, and on the derailleur as well. So I'll get that all cleaned up in one service interval when I'll put in the rear brake, the front brake, and I'll take care of that at that time. The back light still works, haven't had any trouble with that. The front light, I have been driving at night sometimes, and although on a perfectly dark road, it does illuminate the road a little ways. It's not the brightest bulb on the planet, but it gets the job done. I think the most important thing is that, you know, cars that are coming toward you can at least see you. Usually there's plenty enough street lights or ambient light that you can see where you're going, but it's probably even more important for the cars to see you. So overall, I haven't had too much trouble with the bike. A few little things, hiccups here and there, but nothing that has been out of the ordinary. I did have one flight, excuse me, I did have one flat in that amount of time, and I got a puncture in the tube, in the tire right here that went through the casing and through that tough liner that's inside the casing and the tube. Is a piece of glass, believe it or not. But I fixed it and I haven't had a trouble since. So what I'm going to do is, you can see that this tire is pretty bald. That will be changed. The front has fared better. There's still some life in the front, but I'm going to change both the front and the back, and I'll keep this front as a spare just in case. So, and I've also have new tubes that I'll put in, and I'll be putting in some product called Flat Out. So hopefully I won't be getting any more flats, but only one in 15 months is not so bad. So people have asked about this mirror. Well, this mirror is a product by Zefal, Z-E-F-A-L, and it fits in here. It's got some adjustment on it. You can move it different ways, but one nice feature is that it's got a light on it. So again, to assist the front headlight, you can always turn that on if you're going around at night and need to get home. So totally pleased with that mirror. Like I said, a lot of people have asked about it, so I'd like to pass that on. As far as the electronics go, not a bit of trouble. You can see there that I have, at this point, 2,572 miles. That's in exactly 15 months. So luckily we had a mild winter, and I had a chance to ride pretty much all winter. We had a very cold snap last December 22, But other than that, I rode January, February, March, all the way up to through today, and it's now the beginning of June. So I have to say that my first year of life with a RadRover has been a pleasant one. I've got plenty of miles on it. Oh, one thing I want to bring out is the battery. So I usually ride in pedal assist level 1 or 2. I use 2, every so often 3, just to level some of the hills, but I normally go at pedal assist 1. Therefore, I get a lot of miles out of my battery. I charge the battery only about once a week. It's usually down to about 3 or 4 bars at that time. It takes 4 or 5 hours for it to charge up. So my weekly average is anywhere between about 55 and 70 miles a week. So it's held up well. So overall, would I buy this RadRover 6 Plus Step-thru again? You know, I think I would. I like it. I use it almost every day. It hasn't really let me down or stranded me anywhere. So I hope you find this video useful. Give it a like and subscribe to my channel. I've got more stuff coming up on the RadRover and on some other topics that I report on. So at the risk of sounding like a RadPower fanboy, I have to say that I've enjoyed my experience with this bike. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments box, and I'll always get back to you. So thanks for watching, and take care now. Bye. As I headed back up the trail after doing this video, I wondered if my enthusiasm for the RadRover could be heard. It probably was. But what I wanted to do was give an open and honest overview of its features and how they held up over time. Since I only have this one electric bike, I report on my use with it. As a result, I don't do product comparisons that seem to be so prevalent on this medium. Rather, I focus on the RadRover. I like it in particular because of its versatility. I can be road biking and decide to shoot off onto a trail or hit the beach at low tide. It'll carry all the gear I can load onto it and get me back home reliably. Last, you may have noticed in the report that it was done in a single take, unscripted, off the cuff, and with only one minor hiccup edited out. I hope you found it useful. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comments area below, and feel free to like and subscribe to my channel.